Good evening. I'm Cliff Kelly. This is The Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON, streaming live at www.wvon.com. We are so pleased to continue with our illustrious in-studio guest. We love him. He's just fantastic. He is none other than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the leader of the Nation of Islam. And again, Brother Minister, thank you. Going to go to the phones again, and one of our great people who has his own show here on WVON, Salim Muwakil. Hello, Salim.
Hey, Cliff, how you doing?
Fine, sir.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Minister.
Wa alaikum salam, Brother Salim.
Brother Minister, I was just looking at some photos of you and I at a Baha'i temple in Uganda a long time ago.
Yes,
sir. And I was wondering, so I saw that you were at the funeral services of Imam Warithdin Muhammad, and I know that you and he had worked very assiduously toward a reconciliation between the two communities. I'm wondering, is that work still going on now that the minister has passed, now that the imam has passed? Is the reconciliation efforts, are they still going on pretty strenuously?
I would say yes. It is written in the Quran that eventually Allah will settle the differences between believers. I loved Imam Warithuddin Muhammad and felt a great sense of personal loss when he passed away, because my hope was always that ultimately we would be together in the end of our lives working for the cause of Islam. So his death, unfortunately, it is unfortunate, but we will continue to work for the unification of our communities for the cause of Islam.
Thank you, Brother Minister. I'm glad to hear that.
Salim, thanks so much.
Yes, sir.
You know what I think of you, brother. Thanks so much. Appreciate
and
your
the
call.
feeling is mutual,
Okay,
Governor.
right.
Although Governor may be a dubious title.
Yeah, they're changing it now. That's funny. Thanks a lot. Listen, I want to make sure I ask you this before we run out of time. And we've got callers, obviously, from Ohio and D.C. and St. Louis. But someone mentioned the term closing the gap. Whenever I hear that, Minister Farrakhan, I think about the problems we have with education. And I know what the nation does. I mean, you've got one of the best schools anywhere, the Muhammad University of Islam. And you folks educate young men and women. But the first time I saw you speak years ago, I was invited. You were talking to about 300 young African-American men, young men, and telling them what they had to be worthy of being the husband to a black woman and family. And I will never forget that. But education is such an important thing that we are really in bad shape, just in closing the gap between the achievement of African-American students and everybody else. In many instances, is getting wider. We have an apartheid system here in Chicago, public school system. If you can get one of the selective schools, you're in good shape, selective enrollment schools. If not, hey, you may have a major problem. What is your response? You folks do such a great job on that. Is there anything you can say that would help people understand what we need to be doing? Education is one of the key issues.
The American educational system is in decline, as its political and economic system is as well. Education, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, is the torchlight of civilization. When the light of education starts going out, then the civilization starts to decline. And as the civilization declines, the behavior of the citizens shows the decline of civilization, because they become more and more savage and brutal in their behavior one to another. This is not an accident. I am a student of the American educational system. I grew up in Boston, Massachusetts, in a segregated school system. But I can tell you, Cliff, that as a young man in the 7th grade, I studied Latin. And when I left high school, I had 3 years of Latin 2 years of German, a year of French, a year of Spanish. I had algebra, solid geometry, plane geometry, calculus. I had world history. I had physics, chemistry, biology. When I graduated from high school, I went to a black college in the South and never bought a book because everything that they were teaching I already knew. And I know that the American educational system has been tampered with on purpose so that there's a dumbing down of the American people where they're easily manipulated by corporate-controlled media for purposes that makes America now in line to lose her sovereignty as a nation. What is going on in America is a travesty in the educational system. I'll close that with this. You can't tell a human being that that human being is born in the image and the likeness of God, and then tell that human being that he is less than an excellent creation. There is nothing that God created that doesn't bear the mark of excellence. A bee is excellent, an ant, a flea, the sun, the moon, the stars. Everything is excellent. The male, the female, we are an excellent creation, but it is education that causes us to reflect God. And that is the tragedy, man. This whole thing needs to be redone, right. And we could help it, but not just for black children, but for every human being. Education is not a privilege. Education is a human right.
And as you state, and I totally concur, this is done intentionally and the dumbing down of everybody.
Yes.
Foreign Policy, the publication, had a great picture of Bush on the cover, about January, February issue, looking confused as usual. And it said, the Iraq War is not his fault, it's yours, meaning the American people. There are people who still think Saddam Hussein had something to do with 9/11. I mean, intelligent people, allegedly, but there seems to be no interest. But the thing you mentioned that I think is so important, the corporate-controlled media. You know, things are so much different than they used to be, and there are certain things, as you point out, that just they don't want to talk about.